I was just replying to a comment really quick.
Oh, you're fine.
You quite possibly might be the last episode.
So I was gonna say your comment made me be like, you're, little not gonna be around much longer. Is it just
Yeah,
because there's gonna be a new one or you're exhausted?
both. Both.
Well, remotely paranormal is going to go bye bye. The podcast is going to go bye bye, and we're going to figure out something together to fill the space. So it's exciting, but we're not going to worry about it anytime soon. Like, we're not running to the drawing board just yet. I told them, we'll finish out the year. If we have an idea, we'll kick ideas around or write them down, and then in the new year, we'll sit down and talk shop about what we want to do to fill the void.
I mean, December is gonna be here before we know it, and it'll be over. Yeah, no, I don't like, I'm telling you, this like weekly feeling like you gotta grind, like thing that's too hard. You'll be
Yeah.
so excited. You'll be like, what am I doing with my life? Everything when you don't have to sit down at a certain time every damn week and the social media for it every damn week. Like, it's
Let's just say
exhausting.
when inmates approach, incoming aircraft will be shot. Sweet.
Wait, what?
I'm reading her sign.
Oh,
Inmates approaching incoming aircraft will be shot. So, like, when one has to land, do not run up to it.
oh.
Yeah, that'd probably be smart. All right, if you're ready, I think we're ready. If it
I'm
crashes,
always ready. And then that's what's meant to be. It's all meant to be.
exactly. All right.
I'm back.
Are you ready?
I am ready.
Okay, there we go. Hey, everybody, how's it going? What's up? Welcome back to the Old World Paranormal Podcast episode. I don't know. I don't know.
I think we do.
Do we know?
I'm going with what you said. 133, or if we want to be safe, 134.
Sure, we'll go with it. We'll go with it. At this point, I'm over it. I don't care. But thank you. I just want to, so we have a very special guest tonight. A very badass lady, a very multi-talented lady. Um, Excited for this. And, I made a post on the whole interweb earlier today, um, announcing that we would be live on YouTube tonight at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time with this guest. And I put in there a little teaser, a little thing saying that this quite possibly could be the very last episode of Old World Paranormal Podcast. Of all things, it runs its course and it's time for a change, and change is always good. Change ain't always bad. So, I'm sitting here with my lovely sidekick, Bree. She's half here.
I'm here.
She's on the socials right now. So
I'm sharing
we
it
are
out.
live on our TikTok page, or my TikTok page, Nick Carboni / Old World Paranormal Society. We're also live on YouTube, Old World Paranormal Society, on that channel. And I want to say, I love networking. I love the social media aspect. I love the paranormal community. Good God, I'm staying away from the paranormal community because it's a shit show right now. But what the one of the beautiful things is getting to see that having listeners all across the globe in 44 different countries is amazing. I want to thank each and every one of you for listening to this podcast for the past 3.5 years. It's been amazing. Even thanks to my counterpart, Sean, even though he left about 2 months ago to do a new podcast. So kudos to him. And, me and Bree have some things up our shoulders, and we're excited. And without further ado, since you're doing the socials,
Wait, I'm off. I can do it now.
You're going to introduce her?
I can do it.
Are you sure?
Yeah, you better let me.
Hold on, I gotta ask, is up our shoulders a thing you say out your way, or it's up our sleeves?
Did I say shoulders?
Yeah, you did. I thought you were like,
No.
I just need to interrupt everything in the whole flow to point
no,
that
you're fine.
out.
Without further ado, up our up our pant leg to the side.
Yes.
Get out of my head.
All right, have at it, babe.
All right, you guys, I am so freaking tickled pink over tonight's guest. I personally got the chance to be on her show for the very first time over a year ago. We have formed an amazing friendship. This woman has just totally, like, when Nick says that she's like badass in it and killing it and kicking ass, y'all, she has been through the gates of hell and has persevered. You know her as the founder and creator of Hella Obscura, Into the Obscura, which you can now watch on Paraflix with her amazing co-host Rob. FYI, I am in season 2. But you guys, she's also doing something that is getting ready to just, I think, shake up the paranormal, especially when you see who she's got. I was tickled pink to see your cohort with this. Without further ado, you guys, I give you the absolutely amazing and gorgeous Kara Phillip.
Hello, everybody. I made the mistake of leaving my husky in this room with me, thinking she would be quiet, so I apologize in advance.
Oh,
We're gonna have animals running through too.
Yeah,
So
we're working on getting her out. As long as she's quiet, she's so quiet. Thank you. Yeah. So, yeah.
there's so much to talk about, so much to go over. Um, with everything you've done too, you know I'm going to bring up what the hell's going on in the paranormal today.
I I took a screenshot right before this. I was just scrolling through and it was literally because I have not blocked him or unfriended him yet because I never interacted with this guy before this. So I was like, let me just keep watching. And I am a serial not unfriender or blocker if I can help it. So if anybody's like offended that I stay friends with anybody ever, I have a pretty like solid rule. I don't ever like it's rare. I will rarely do that. I don't know why. I just don't do that. But so right under one of his prominent posts of the day, somebody commented, had their own post right under it. And I was like, oh, that's perfect. It's very dramatic and odd. It's odd that this even started because it's weird. It's not even good clout or anything. Like it's weird. This is a weird one.
Yeah, I don't know the angle here. I saw the day before. I saw Mike Couch's post, and he was talking about this, but he didn't say anything. So I was assuming it was about Mike's place, the Rhodes, well, his daughter's place now, the Rhodes Hotel. And I'm thinking, I'm like, get ready to get all pissy and jump around. I'm like, this motherfucker, I'm getting on it. And I'm like, no, no, we've been pretty quiet lately. Let's just stay out of it.
Just
I'm just gonna watch. I'm just gonna get my popcorn and just watch. And then even today, I get home from work and you're scrolling through the socials, and I'm like, wow, they're gonna go after Robin.
yeah,
Like,
so that was just wild to me. I will say, looking at the screenshots that are allegedly so revealing, I think they're not. Um, I was waiting to read the screenshots from conversations and go, oh man, he really messed up. Robin, just, I don't know if you're willing to share your screenshots, somebody might have messed up. No, I'm reading it going, I don't, I'm
it's about
interpreting
as
it
bad.
differently.
This attempt is about as bad as Cody Sharp trying to say I sexually harassed him and screenshot it and put it on Facebook. This is about as bad. Like if I tell another grown man to go suck it,
Else, and we're like, but isn't, I, that's
unless
what
unless that's what
people
he
do.
does and he's offended by it. I don't know. I don't know that side of him. So, but whatever. I
So
just
I
wanted
think
to.
I will say, okay, then I'll weigh in on that publicly. I think if you hold on to that screenshot as the guy that you were having a conversation with, and I know people feel differently. People have posted very publicly that they feel differently. You're never allowed to speak like that. Some people were saying, But if you hold on to that for a month, and it's just like this figure of speech, in my opinion, that people would say, Rob, my co-host, will say, like, go eat a bag of dicks. Like, that's normal. And he'll say that to anyone anytime. So I guess, I mean, in our house, as we were having the conversations, I was like, I guess I just come from a world that is not too bothered by that. So to me, sitting on that for a month was like, you were just waiting. You just wanted to jump on some damn bandwagon. And that's my public weigh-in. Like, it was just, I don't think anyone was offended. I think it was a seizing an opportunity, but that's my public weigh-in. I
No.
usually don't
Well, hold
do.
on. There was somebody else offended, but that's her MO, was to be
No, so
offended.
that's why I said I understand that somebody else was offended. I
Well,
saw that too.
you could
Um,
sneeze wrong and offense would be taken.
So yeah,
You,
and then I thought it was funny because again, here and out my big disclaimer, I'm a nurse and nurses are not too offended by too much. There's too many personal things that you're part of and too many personal lives you're part of to get real offended by a whole lot of anything. And I like dark humor and I don't think sometimes just words are actually the sexual harassment that people want to think it is. Also, I know, I'm just going to say without naming names, I know there's so much awful sexual harassment that actually goes on in the community, like awful, abusive behavior, total sexual harassment, just sexual abuse. This all goes on, and we don't talk about it because, God forbid, we maybe name somebody
Or
that
even a big name
a
person.
big name, yeah, that we name a big name person that for some reason everyone would jump on that bomb for the person and defend this behavior and doubt this behavior. So for us at all, when this behavior goes on and everybody says, oh, no, don't say anything. No, the
I
production
can't
companies
say
know, but
nothing.
shh, don't say anything. We can't say anything. No. So when we do that so much as a community, I think in a society too, but I'm going to say community very specifically in this situation, I have a very hard time believing anyone is going to get real upset about sucking a bag of dicks. Like I honestly, like to me, that's wild that we sit here and cover up actual sexual harassment and abuse, actual terrible behavior.
Mhm.
We
oh
cover
yeah.
that up and we pretend it doesn't happen. And if all the women watching and the men too, but if the women watching don't know what I'm talking about or haven't experienced it themselves in life, but really especially in this community, and I'm sure there are names that when you whisper them in the corners, everyone goes, "Oh yeah, I know. Oh yeah, yeah, I know.
Oh,
I
I can name
know."
5 people right
So,
now. Everybody would be like, I've heard the
oh,
story.
yeah, I
I
know.
know one of the people involved
It's
in the
okay.
Yep.
It's
situation.
okay because one, it's in the paranormal, and two, they're on TV.
Yeah, so it's
So it's
okay.
okay. It's okay. It's
But
fine.
if
So,
it was real world, that person would have charges.
mhm.
They would have a PRO. They would have court dates. They would be in fucking jail.
But we're going to pull out a message from a month ago talking about sucking a dick as a mode of speech, and we're going to act like that's the problem. So I just have a hard time if we want to police our exact language use in this situation. Um, I think we need to start actually holding people accountable to the actual
The real stuff.
problematic abusive behavior. And I don't think it's fair to say, well, okay, we're going to ignore that. No, that's not the problem today. The problem today is that you used this word a month ago. I have a hard time with that. I also,
I just
again, disclaimer, I work in a jail too. So like you know, it
You've heard it all at this point. Like, there's nothing that can make you blush.
I like there's a lot of stuff that I am not going to get offended about and there's a lot of stuff that I'm like, I do believe in like human rights and equal rights and all kinds of great things. But I also believe that when we start applying totally differing standards and pretending that we're being high and mighty about it, I have a real hard time. Like,
I'm offended by everybody, and I believe everybody can successfully eat a bag of dicks. All
yeah,
colors,
like that's just,
all
yeah,
races, all
that's,
men, women.
Every shape and size. I
I'm just
mean,
saying. And
that's
when
my, yeah,
when
size.
when I see somebody immediately in like the first sentence talks about feelings, you lost me. I'm sorry, you lost me. I'm gone. I don't. I'm like, bro,
yeah,
man up. Just
and I
man
think
up.
there's some intention and context that we have to think of when something is a mode of speech that maybe we can improve our word usage. That's one thing. But when there's intention, I'll say it
Yes.
at work. When there's a guy, when you catch him doing something with himself, you just see him through a window and he didn't mean to share it with you. You might have caught something. There was no intention. When they're intentionally doing something at you and making eye contact, now you'll press charges.
So
That's what it is.
if they
So
shoot it out the
intention.
window, it's one situation, but they shoot
Mhm.
it at you, it's
Totally
that's
different.
okay, gotcha.
So,
Well,
but yeah, no, I mean, like sometimes I think we have to look at a little intention. I think we have to, so I think to police every single word, I think now we need to start policing every single action. And I would be shocked if people that were upset about your message, I'd be shocked if they don't know about the actual terrible behavior and turn a blind eye clearly. That's that's where I struggle with feeling some type of way about that message. Like, mm, a private conversation, a one-liner, that's a figure of speech. Anyway, we could beat this to death, and I beat it to death.
well, you
Well,
know what?
he okay. The problem was he tried to come at me personally in Messenger, and I just ignored him because I thought it was asinine.
That too.
He got upset and wanted, So I should say, respectively, go suck a dick,
Yes.
right? Okay. So I don't know. I just morals. There's no morals in the paranormal.
No. Well, and there's no context either. Like nobody looks at context anymore. Everybody wants to scream context. And it's like in this situation, like here's a little truth bomb for the people that are listening that have only seen where Nick was accused of the sexual harassment. That was the last comment on a thread of 20 fucking comments. And Nick hit his end because Cody was goading him.
Yeah.
And
So that's the thing too. Like, even if we're going to call this abuse or, inappropriate, language, there is such a thing as reactive abuse. Somebody pushes and pushes and pushes and pushes and pushes. When you finally go, no, and push back, and then they cry, I have a hard time with that too. Like, if you're going to dish it out, take it. And that's why, honestly, like, I try to not dish it out because, like, I can take it, I think, but I would rather not go in that situation. So I feel like it's a lot of people like dishing it out. So even like the drama today, it's a lot of dishing out really like out of nowhere. Nothing happened. And then this guy's just going on the attack for no good reason.
could it be a red herring to diverge away from the shitstorm that's happening on the East Coast?
Oh, I don't even know what's happening on the East Coast.
Oh, okay.
Well, let's save that.
Okay. Go.
Let's
How long
save
do we
that.
have to catch up on everything?
We gotta
So,
catch up.
but
Sure.
also, no, I think like, I mean, for whatever, also it could be clout. It could be, wanting somebody to notice, wanting whatever. I don't know. But, so out of nowhere, but then so quickly blocking people, so quickly getting so upset. You went on the attack. You started this. So people are going to have responses and you want people to notice you. That's why you're doing this. But then you're blocking people. Like, I mean, if we're going for like any publicity is good publicity, like let's go for it. But so it's just so weird, like
Well,
the immediate blocking too. Like, and then so what I think is funny, the timeline is just mine is full of everybody that's been blocked, being like, ha ha ha, I've been blocked. So like it's a lot of people that have been
Karen,
blocked.
Just eating the popcorn.
So yeah, no, it's just, and I kind of even scrolled back a little bit. I was like, why did this happen? And then I'm like, no reason. No reason. And like
Yeah,
Ashmore Estates, I'm gonna say I've never been to Ashmore Estates. Like I had a couple, a few times I should have, but like life just happened and whatever. I'm
same.
busy. And so I've never been there, but like I've never heard anything negative. And if nothing else, I give so much credit. And I believe like if there's any place that's haunted, it probably is there. That tracks, like based on its history. But I give like so much credit too to good owners that people like and get along with. So
So
um
how about this, Kara?
oh,
What if Ashmore is not haunted?
what if?
What if it's not? Who fucking cares?
I was like, what if? So everybody gets to go have fun. Honestly, okay, so I'll say I'm gonna name another haunted site that I love, but I love it because the owner, Broadhead Manor.
Yeah.
So is it haunted? Probably everybody says it is. But what did I do there? I've only made it up the one time so far. I talked to you and Bree the whole time, and then some to Tobias, and then I went out to dinner. And then I went out and hung out with Natalie and Patty afterwards back at Broadhead Manor while Larry took, fun pictures and we just like laughed and had fun. Is it haunted? Probably. Do I have any proof of that? No, because I just hung out. But Bill is also the coolest. So
Right.
do we have a place? So say it's not haunted. Say somebody tells me tomorrow it isn't, which I don't think that'll happen. I'm not worried about that. Who cares? Because it's an awesome place, awesome history, because I love the history of places and everybody can get together and it's really welcoming to the community and really good people come together there. Oh no.
Wow. You know what? I was reading
That's
it.
the
And he was like,
worst.
he's taking advantage of the weekend warriors or these investigators. What? His intentions was to open this place for people to come to investigate. Okay. And he wants to restore it. He's been restoring it. What he's
Yeah.
done so far is, whoo, holy crap.
Yeah.
Who cares? I was
So
talking to Bree earlier. I'm like, who really cares if it's haunted or not?
I love just old stuff too, old creepy stuff, like old, let's take pictures of that peeling paint or that restored something. So to discredit it and what are you trying to do? Get rid of it? That's also, when I was at my prison for so long, for years, I didn't have any experiences. Did that make it not haunted? That just meant, no, that just meant I was not in the right place and they weren't in
Right.
the right place with me. That's all that means. So for years, hours and hours at a time of being there, nights and weekends and everything, nothing happened. So I could run around and scream, it's not haunted. That's weird to do. So somebody that spent a night there is going to run around that it is definitively not haunted. Come on. Come on. I remember just leading paranormal tours and people would show up to the prison. Like that was my favorite, leading the tours because like all that conversation and interaction or like co-leading. It was Rob that was really doing it, but I was with him. But people would show up in all of their gear. They'd have their vests, they'd have their lights, they'd have their special, super expensive stuff. That's great. I'm all for it. They would get so mad that a ghost didn't just come up and make out with them or something. I don't know what they wanted. I don't know. And it was so funny to me. I
Wanted
would
to go
watch
suck
them.
their bag of dicks.
Maybe they would. But no, I would find it so funny. I would watch them. We would always end up at North Sag, which is North Sag and Death Row. And they wouldn't even go and like hang out in the building. It's the coolest building, I think, especially Death Row. They would just like stomp around outside all mad. And I would always see these people doing it. I'm like, what are they doing? Like, what is going on? Because sometimes by then I'd be exhausted and I would just be sitting outside, and I'm like, what are they, why? And then they would be so mad they didn't get any evidence. Okay, but like also that night while they were looking at their screen looking for something, I saw, a shadow person walking up on the upper gallery. The same night I saw in the gym and could hear people, just all the things that I would see just by existing and they knew me. I was, part of it, but they didn't get any evidence. So could they go and say it's not actually haunted? It's just a big no. that would be crazy because anybody that does this knows that it doesn't always do something.
Right.
Like this
It's
weekend filming, like we were in a hallway that like stuff was happening, and then as soon as all the cameras turned on, nothing. You could just feel it just, go dead. And we're like,
It's
cool.
like they know sometimes
They know.
that EVP, you catch it in the moment, you go home to download it and it's gone. It's like it's interesting how spirit knows. Like
They
they know, like I
know.
want to be on this is for you in this moment. This isn't for everybody else. I want
Hmm.
you to experience me now.
Yeah.
Like turn your stuff off. Like focus.
So
it's one
this,
thing. It's one thing in his post to say, "Well, I went there and I investigated for the night. I didn't get anything. I
mhm.
don't feel it's haunted."
Yep.
Okay, that's
Cool.
fine. That's your opinion. But
Totally.
you step the line and then you're starting a personal attack against him.
Hmm.
Right.
That's so fucking asinine. Like I tell people all the time, if you don't like what I'm doing in the paranormal and you want to have a conversation about what I'm doing in the paranormal, okay, I'll talk to you about it. But again, what I do doesn't affect you, vice versa. But when you step over the line and you start the personal attacks and talk about family and intentions and this or that,
Yes.
you don't cross the fucking line.
Well,
That's the
and that's the weird thing with like sharing these screenshots from like the messenger conversation. To me, they're very transparent. They're very, like conversations. And he's saying, this is evidence that he is using these things as a hoax. And you're like, but no, like, I guess we see what you would do,
Twisted.
sir. Like, I guess you clearly would set up a hoax because everything is being twisted to be that way. Like, that's how you're reading it. You're reading it with a dishonest, mind here. And so it's just crazy to me, like that we're going on this personal attack. Like, again, I got nothing. And
it's like
maybe like wrangle a free night out of it. Like, you could be like, I got nothing that night. Can I come back for free to see if I get something another night? Like, try it, but like to discredit and try to like shut it down.
Like,
I
okay,
love
how
this
many
stuff.
locations are now going to be like, you are definitely not coming here?
I mean,
Because I don't want you trying to kill our. Because it's like people don't take into consideration that these. It's not like the family house down the street that somebody bought and they're trying to get money out of it. Like do tours and all this stuff. This is a legitimate historic location. If you
yes.
look at the history, and it's like you probably just blackballed yourself from how many other locations within the community because these are actual historic locations that are being generous and allowing people to try to keep the historic location afloat. They
Hmm.
do the paranormal, and it's like, do you really think anybody's really going to want you to come to them now? Because with your mouth and your little following, what impact could you possibly have to the financial income that they have coming in that they rely on to
Well,
keep it going?
and even just like on just a human level, not even locations, just collaboration or doing anything.
Yeah.
How dangerous of a person. Like there's, people I think I'm sure it's everywhere, but I'm just going to narrow it down to the paranormal. I am very much in one breath saying like we should expose things or whatever. I'm saying that earlier and I believe that's true. When there's actual bad things that people are doing, I think we are great at covering it all up and staying quiet. But for some reason, we also don't understand, and I've encountered this in my personal life too. Once people start like making accusations, like really, being out of pocket, and then they expect that to be fine. No, like people know you are not a safe person, and they will like should because fire's hot, and we should know that.
Right.
Maybe we need to kind of stay at arm's reach here because you're not somebody I could trust. You're not somebody, and this man, we've never interacted. I see him on a feed, but just in general, if you're lashing out at nothing, if you are insulting nothing happened, and you're doing all of this, I that's, real red flags in interacting with this human in the future. Like, if
Right.
he's willing
Yeah,
to do
like
that
if
to
this
somebody
was the
he
call.
barely ever met, I can't get involved in this person's life ever. Because,
Just think about the people that recently invested. I mean, think about it. Like, okay, don't know this dude. He calls up like, "Hey, I'm interested in investigating with you guys." Oh, okay, cool. We go out with them, have a good time. You see us on social media, and then all of a sudden he drops this, and then we both look at each other like, "Oh, fuck." And then we got to go. I don't know this dude like that. I don't know him.
yeah,
Like, this is not the experience we had. This is not our thought process. I mean,
Like, who attacks Santa Claus?
that too.
they
It's
just attacked
just
paranormal grandpa.
like, and that's it. Like, and the wild thing, it's just, yeah, it's nothing, it's oddly personal. But again, it's not, we started out talking about like the actual blatant sexual harassment and abuse and stuff that occur all the time. That we are going to keep very quiet about. But for some reason, because this adorable older man installed speakers in his building,
Yeah.
we are going to assume this is a hoax, all of it. It is all a hoax because he did, and he even like gave his ration. Oh, so that I could do this. That's why I did it. He probably thought it was just a fun thing to do. And now we're gonna like put ill intentions on that. Like I don't care for it.
You're like,
Again,
they put
you don't
Wi-Fi
need
in.
something to happen to you.
Like, you're okay. All right. You're not a fucking investigator. If you're going to sit here and say there's Wi-Fi in the building and then there's speakers and then there's this and this is causing this, like, dude, you're not an investigator. If you can't get past that and figure out common sense fucking shit, like, come on, man. It's not the Stone Ages. We understand a whole lot more where you have to cut the power to the fucking building and do this and this and this. And, oh, we got a blip on the K2. It's a ghost. I mean, we're so far past that. Like, if you're going to sit there and say that, again, you threw your credibility out when you're attacking personally Santa Claus and,
Yeah.
a very good friend of ours.
Yeah.
Like, dude, get the fuck out of here. But it's crazy, and it's not. We're talking about this because this is happening like right now, today, last
Hmm.
24 hours. So but there's this shit going on all over the place in the paranormal, and it's ridiculous. I mean, we got people out on the East Coast now that are an event company, and then they're running a magazine, and they're doing this, and they literally think they're a mafia.
Oh, I know who we're talking about. Yeah. I never know what even happens. Every now and again, it just like
It's
some dust
hard to
gets
keep
kicked
up.
up, and I'm like, what happened? And
I
nobody
mean,
says, and it's okay. I don't even need to know. But just somebody
right.
gets real upset one day, and then it kind of like dies down again.
Well, screenshots are now being shared. And I mean, to threaten to, and they're saying this was said as a joke. Okay, I'm sorry. How is it funny to show pictures of two guns and say this gun is
Oh,
for this person, this gun is for her dog? And then later in the conversation say, if I don't get to use the gun on the dog, I will behead the dog in front of her. How is that funny in any context? I'm sorry. I've got a twisted sense of humor, Kira. The three of us do.
yeah, that's not funny. So, first of all, you only need one gun. You don't need two. That's just stupidity. One would do it.
But
Second,
it's
like two is just going to cause you problems. Second thing, no, that's actually just like threatening violence. Like and then that's like fantasizing about violence. Like that's not just like, oh, I could kill her, That's like actually fantasizing. And then to talk about beheading the dog. Who Stop it. Like who wants to behead a dog? Like what? Like that's even crazier than wanting to shoot the person. Yeah,
Yeah, I mean,
that's
yeah, I mean, have you not seen the Keanu Reeves movies where they kill the dog? Now they're in the seventh movie, and he's still pissed about
And
still
he's killing everybody.
as he should.
it.
No, so that's why the dog thing is weird. Like I don't
And
like,
see
yeah.
what it
Actually,
too is
that's where I
funny.
get uncomfortable is the dog thing because that's just extra crazy.
Right. And it's like, and the thing that blows my mind is that they are now going live and making posts, and they're crying, and they're
Oh.
claiming defamation, and they're claiming that they're the victim because this was a quote unquote joke.
So it's never a
But
joke. Like, that's
you
never a
threatened
joke.
somebody's life, and you threatened an animal. You showed a weapon that would be used on both, and then said if one weapon can't be used, what your backup mean would be. um it's like you can't sit there and cry. How many times can you cry wolf and turn around and play the victim and try to make everybody else the bad person, so that way you're the quote unquote shining star?
Yeah. I
And
don't,
I
yeah.
have a lot that I want to say on this, but
Yeah.
I'm slightly muzzled on it, and
I'm
don't be surprised if I
confused
don't speak up here soon, though.
why, and maybe you guys know the answer, maybe you don't. I genuinely don't know the answer. Maybe I also have not been part of maybe book people do this. I don't know. Maybe cosplay people do this. I don't know. Why is it such a weirdly angry, competitive group of people? Like, does anybody think we're getting rich off of anything? I I certainly know I'm
I
not.
do know
I
some
certainly know
people
this just
that
costs money.
I do know some people that do like to sell their souls for fame and fortune in the paranormal.
But
I don't
how
think
much
that's
fame and how
out
much
for them.
fortune? Because so
Yeah,
I had such a moment. This was a couple years ago. I was working in a hospital. I worked with a lot of people. So Josh Gates, I think we can all agree very well. No, very famous, very famous. The epitome, right? Just a
I would say if
delight.
you walk down the street, 70% of the people of all genres would know who he is.
No, you'd be wrong. So you think
Really?
because he has all these shows on Discovery, I mean, maybe I was talking to the group that wouldn't know him. But when I was going to see him, just he was in Joliet, I was going to go see him and I was so excited because this was going to be a fun friends night, so that's cool. Close to my house, that's cool, and Josh fucking Gates. So, that's cool. Not one person in my unit, and it was a big critical care unit. Nobody knew. They're all like, what? And I was like, no, but okay. So I'm trying to tell, showing pictures, Discovery Channel. No. So we think he's very famous. Um, but I don't think he is as famous as any of us think he is. And that's Josh Gates. So now I would argue that the next level of people we think are very, very famous, woo, just to be, I mean, Zach Baggins, everybody does know who that is. So that's a different story. He's not everybody does. But then we think of like the next round of famous people that we think in this community. Let me tell you, nobody knows who they are. So we make such a big deal. I'll try to name drop. Oh, I was gonna hang out with this person this weekend, and people are like, I don't know who am I supposed, but no. And that was like huge for me when I was like not even Josh Gates. Like it was one thing to not know like these other ones. I guess I was okay with that, but like no, people are oddly wild about this stuff that nobody knows. Like the rest of the world. One of my coworkers, her son will sometimes ask her if I've caught any ghosts lately. And that's about as close as I get to somebody knowing what I'm doing. Otherwise, everyone's like, that's weird what you all do. So, like, to me, it's crazy, so crazy that everyone's willing to like be this horrible, like, this horrible for this little like group of people who all just like want to like, hang out. Because what is even the piece of the pie we're fighting for? It's not, please keep your day job. Like,
Well, what's sad is that
Yes, please.
some of them, this is their actual day job.
so that's what's crazy to me because I don't even know like how this parlays like into
Oh, I can fill you
anything.
all in. I can fill you
Yeah,
all in.
it's just like wild to me because and when it becomes so important that you think like this little tiny, comparatively tiny group of people, tiny slice of fame and fortune is gonna like do anything, really, beyond like your day job, please again, just keep your day job. It's crazy because you're just not going to get there. So you're all just going to keep on fighting over nothing. That being said, I love every second of all of this when we're not all trying to destroy each other and not all
Yeah,
trying to like trample each other. I think it's the coolest group of people and I think it's fun, but like it's awesome hobby. And more than a hobby. I don't even mean to just say hobby, but I think most people would describe it that way that are not like one of us. But it's a delight. I want to fill my weekends with this stuff. I fill my nights with this stuff. Like I work till 8 o'clock 2 nights this week, and then I have shows, my show, and then this show 2 nights this week. And then the fifth night, I'm traveling. So like I am obviously like giving so much time and effort and energy, and these are my favorite people. But it's so weird that people want to destroy each other over it. Because what are we getting when we
We're all
destroy
doing
each
the
other?
same damn thing.
we're just doing it
Like,
differently, and
like,
we could learn from each other.
like this whole campaign to like discredit Ashmore Estates. Like, what was that going to get you? Or could you have gone about your day not doing that, maybe sharing some nonsense meme and gone on with your life? Like, what was like of all things, he chose violence today. And like, why? Like, why does somebody choose to send a message talking about cutting a dog's head off? Like, why of all things today did we choose that to win what? Like, it's wild to me. Like, what if, and I'm not even gonna say the P word, the para-unity word. Like, I'm not even saying that. Like, I thought, okay, so side note, the first time I was ever on like some other podcast, not my own, and I was so excited, right? Like it's very, very, you're like, oh my God, I can't believe I'm doing this. And I'm so honored. And he said, this guy was like, you're such a great, something of para unity. And I was like, that's such a cool word. I had literally never heard of it before on this podcast. I don't know where I was. And now I'm like, oh, it's used. That's also used like in violence now, like to shut people up and do stuff. Like, what if we just like be cool to each other? If you don't like somebody, cool. I don't
Yeah,
care.
right.
Like, because also everybody's busy keeping their day jobs, living their lives. And
Yeah.
I have my own flooring company, and I'll go out, and
that's what I'm
there's
saying.
there's some people that I know more personally than others, and they'll
Mhm.
same thing. How's the ghosty stuff going? And I'll just like I'll just start laughing. I'm like, it's going, or somebody asks, and I'm like, yeah, I've done this and this and this in the paranormal, and I'm I'm an author, and they're like, oh, you're an author? What'd you write? I'm like, paranormal book, and they're like, oh, and I'm like, thanks.
That's
Nobody
cool.
gives a shit
No,
other
they
than
don't.
us and the paranormal. I mean, they don't.
No, honestly, so even, and we'll talk about my fun new stuff in a little bit, but like I'm
Yeah.
gonna tell you, I'm showing like my coworkers, I'm like, look at this, like from filming over the weekend, so like one of the reels. And all we talk about is the American Eagle jeans, and I'm so glad they suggested it and it was the right thing, and they're glad I listened. That's it. They're not like, that's so cool because where were you? And da, 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 ghosts. Blah, blah, blah. That's awesome. They're like, those jeans are really fitting you. Thank you. That's the end of that. That's as far as we're getting because they don't care.
Feel like
And
my
then
coworkers are like, "Where are you going this weekend? Are you
mhm.
traveling? Like, how crazy are you getting?" Like, they found out about Nick doing the bell, and they're like, "Oh, we went there for a bridal shower, and are you friends? And do you know?" And I'm like, "Why wouldn't the fuck would I be friends with her? I'm never going to see this place, and I'm completely content with it." But every weekend, they're like, "Are you going to the bell? Are you going to the
Yeah,
bell?"
because
And I'm
that's all
like,
they know. Like that's,
"No,
yeah,
I'm not
no.
going to the
And
bell."
so that like little dose of just like reality in the rest of the world is what's so crazy to me that then people are choosing violence. Like
Yeah.
what are we fighting over? Because the rest
Right.
of the world is just like cool. Did you catch a ghost?
You
No.
didn't like Ghostbusters?
Okay.
Did you shoot the thing?
Yeah, no, and then I really try to think about how do I catch a ghost so I can say I did. And then maybe they'll like me. And and that's like the end of it. And so normal, and I'm saying normal as in the not paranormal people. Normal people don't care. So it's so weird that everyone's gonna fight about stuff. But like, but then, see, we're gonna spend a whole hour talking about this. But then you don't get to talk about the terrible behavior. You don't get to be like, isn't that so weird that this guy went on the attack? Instead, we're all going to support Ashmore Estates and say, I support this person and I'm going to book it. I'm going to go. I support this. But like it's so weird to me that people aren't like this behavior is just abhorrent. Why are we going to tolerate this just as a community, like this terrible behavior? But we also like to cover up sexual assault too. So, hey, we for some reason the terrible behavior is okay. We just rally around like the victim sometimes. So like we're rallying around the victim of this guy's attack, and people are getting blocked and unfriended and then using that as a badge of honor. Like, oh, he blocked me. But like we're not saying, ew, that's dangerous, bizarre behavior.
Yeah.
Let's just say Facebook, Kara.
Yeah.
How many people are you friends with on your Facebook page?
Like in real life or actual friends.
Wow, that's what I was going to get at. Like, okay, let's say you have 4,000, 5,000 friends or
Yeah.
followers on Facebook. How many of those people do you interact with on a normal basis? Like physically?
So very,
Like,
oh,
see
physically,
them.
damn, so very few because physically, yeah, so very few. Like literally,
And how many of those people pay your electric bill?
yeah, exactly none of them. Eventually, like kind of sometimes Facebook pays for its own blue check some months, most months, but that's not my electric bill. That's literally the blue check. So like that's the thing, right? Like why do we like we tolerate and we internalize all this like negative like stuff. We also, and as I like to be uplifting, so I'm not going to try to insult it. We also like eat up though when somebody posts oh, I'm very sad about the world and the world makes me so sad, but I'm going to uplift the world. And no, like what are you doing? Like are you contributing? No, like I don't know. It's a weird we love victims as a group. I don't
Or,
like we
or
pounce on
that's it.
victims.
That's it.
Everybody
I'm
loves when
leaving the
somebody's sad.
paranormal. I'm leaving the paranormal.
That's it.
I've
Make
had
a
enough.
post. Make a post
I'm making
right
a post
now.
about it and then deleting my Facebook because all of you make me
Mhm.
angry and you should be worried about my feelings and my stances on
Yes, you
everything.
should.
And
Okay, we've got departure at gate 22A.
And we're gonna swoop in
Flight
and
is
all go,
leaving in 5 minutes
don't,
and
you
the doors
can
have closed.
don't leave the paranormal. You can investigate with me anytime. You're always welcome. It's always the same stuff. But like when that same person engages in terrible behavior, everyone just, that's cool. And that's so weird to me. Like, I don't know. We like reward negative behavior over and over again. And maybe that's why it keeps happening. We keep
is
rewarding
it just
it.
because it's now become the norm?
Probably I don't know. Like I think it's so at least as I watch like my Facebook feed. Yeah, I see it's funny. People will say they like Instagram better than Facebook, and I never understood. I still like Facebook better, like maybe because I'm just like old, so that's what I'm used to. But I get it because Facebook is just like meme after nice picture after nice picture after meme. And so there's nothing happening. Like for some reason, people don't post those rants on Instagram, I guess, because you'd have to attach it to a picture and nobody's going to read it anyway then. Um, but yeah, it's just so full of people being like sad and angry. And I guess they're screaming into the void because they say like 20-year-olds and 30-year-olds, 20s and 30s are like the loneliest they've ever been. Like that's just a thing going on. I don't know if it's worldwide, but at least in our country. And it is like the world is so isolated now, so maybe they're just screaming into the void.
Yeah.
I don't
I
know.
don't,
I think we're raising a bunch of pansies now, though, too. I mean, with the election, they had to give milk and cookies and
We
crayons.
do disagree on who should have won, but we don't have to.
Well, no, I'm just saying, like,
But see,
we're
nobody even knew that
right,
because
but we're in a generation now.
Oh,
At
that's it, Kara.
universities, they
That's
had
it,
to
Kara.
set up Lego tables
I don't
and
like that,
coloring
Karen.
stations and milk and cookies. And it's
Okay, so I
like,
will say I broke my unfriending rule on some situations. The people that aggressively said, unfriend me now if you, and I was like, and then I would click in and I'd be like, do you have redeeming qualities for me to keep you around? Well, you asked me to unfriend you. No. If they're friends in real life and they made the same post, I said, okay. And didn't
well,
unfriend them.
and I
But
was really heartbroken, in all honesty, seeing all the anger. Like, and it's like, hey, it's we've got enough going on making this just an absolute hell on earth, between the shit going on behind closed doors and the paranormal real world with how are we going to pay our bills. And we're not always going to agree, but seeing people being so angry, and it's like, and I sympathize, I mean, Nick can tell you, like, I'm not someone that's going to be like, well, you can take your feelings and shove them up your ass. Like, I always try to empathize with
I would
people.
say that.
He's the asshole. I'm the one with my heart on my sleeve. But like, it broke my heart. And it's like seeing all this, and it translates into the violence that we woke up to today in the paranormal itself. It's like, when are we gonna, as humanity, going to say enough's enough? Like, there doesn't need to, like, stop. Like, everybody's like, well, choose love, but fuck you if you did this, and it's like, no, stop. Like, do you hear the words coming out of your mouth right now? Like, you're not making the situation better. Like, I mean, for the love of God, people, go hug a fucking tree. That dude this morning should have hugged a tree. He should have grounded himself in the
he
backyard.
should have went and hugged a tree. He really
Okay,
should
that's what
have.
I'm saying.
So,
And then taking a cold shower, because that helps too with the cleansing. With some Epsom salt in the bathtub for a bath later.
all right. So we've spent about 50 minutes talking about this stuff.
And how about everything else? How's it going?
That's great. Well, life's great. So this new project, I don't know if it's new. I don't know if it's brand new or it's
So
like a season.
yeah, so it's
This is
interesting.
like,
So History Live, yeah. So we um yeah, no, so I'm gonna say, like, as of like about a year ago, like in the paranormal, I was like, I never was gonna make a post saying I was gonna leave. It's not even like I was feeling like I gotta go, but I was like kind of directionless, right? Like things were experienced definitely a whole lot of trauma. And you guys know about it, and it was just like, well, what comes next? Like, that was a lot of work and a lot of energy I put on or into everything. And here we are, and it was, and you might have that experience too.
we're kind of into it now.
That you're like, I want to continue, but how? What does that look like? And so, thinking about a year ago to like now, wild, the difference. So I mean, like, well, season two, we all know about it. Bree definitely does know about it. So season two of Into the Obscure on Paraflix with Rob. So Rob, one of my best friends for years and years. So it was when it was time to look for another host, Dan, my husband, goes, well, it's Rob. And I was like, oh, like, just, it's like a movie, like when you're like best friends next to you the whole time and you just don't see it. Of course. So yeah, so we have that. And so it's so exciting. It's like, it's so fun to film our episodes, and just when it's time, we film one, so we have another one to film this week. So the season's almost done and promos are starting to come out, as we've seen. Dan does the promos. So I die because whenever he like cuts these commercials and I see what happens, I just like sit there and laugh because I experienced it firsthand. So I would never like pull this stuff out. I'm like, that's not how that went. But he's like, no, but isn't it funny? I'm like, it is. So
Yeah, he looks at me and he was like, wonders. And I'm like, I swear I'm not really okay. You know what? Yes, I want to know what you do when you clog a damn rest stop bathroom. There's no plungers.
So Deanna's like, it was just so funny how serious she was in the emotion.
Like,
So So Into the Obscure, just a blast, like the season, and so it's fun. I think now, like, settling into being in this community for more than a minute now, it's a little bit less like, what do we do? And a little bit more like, let me just talk to my friends. Who do I want to talk to next? What do I want this to be like? So that's a lot more fun. The other project I'm gonna go with bigger just because it's newer and exciting. So I have been talking like over a year ago, this production company approached me and other people. Um Amelia Cotter of note, because he definitely was like, okay, so you're both women, you're both in the Chicago area, you are both going to think it's weird that I'm calling you and approaching you. So it's both of you. How about you both talk? And we're like, okay, like we were both Facebook friends, whatever, but we started just talking. And so over a year, we've been kind of talking, and sometimes not as much, sometimes more, and being like, have you heard anything lately? So I don't want to, say it negatively, but we were just like, we're just always going to pretend this is going to happen. And every now and again, the company would come back in at DMZ Productions and say, hey, so we still want to do this. And we're like, we're here. Cool. And, all right. And then me and Amelia would be like, okay, well, I talked to him, but okay. Maybe I'll see you somewhere, me and her. So, nothing, nothing, nothing. All of a sudden, this fall, it starts to go, okay, so we're going to do this soon. We're like, what? Are you joking? And we're like, it's October. So by now we were like irritated, right? We're like, we don't have time for this. What do you want? And then we had a weekend. We were going to go record or film, I should say, not record. I'm used to like podcast stuff. Going to go film. And he had COVID. It was so funny. Because they said, oh, there was a COVID exposure. And I was like, I don't care. I had COVID recently. Like, expose us. Like, we have time this weekend. Let's go. I'll get sick again. I could use a week off. It's fine. Let's go. And we all agreed. And then they're like, nobody's like actually sick. And we're like, fine. So now we're like even more salty. I don't even know if he knows this. If he listens, he's going to be like, thanks. I didn't even care. I was like, oh, he's sick. Cool. Like how irritating, because everybody's so busy and they're like pushing, and it just didn't feel, I think just anything that after you talk about it for like a year and you're just kind of in your head not doing it, and all of a sudden like we're going to do it. It just felt like, I don't know, it didn't feel like the thing. And honestly, me and Amelia driving the first weekend to go do it, we're like, you know what? So it's a fun weekend together. We'll be fine. It'll be fun. If this doesn't get picked up, oh well, then we never have to do this again. Honestly, that's what we were thinking. And it was like partway through the night, and we're getting along with everybody so well. And we both said, and then to everybody, to the rest of the cast, we're like, this has to get picked up. Like, oh no, we love this. Like, oh no. Because we honestly were like, well, so if it doesn't get picked up, like, who's sad about this? Not me. Like, and we're like, oh no, we'd be so sad. So, and then we got to go again last weekend. We were at the jail in Crown Point, and it was sad that Amelia and Lee, so two of us weren't there. So that was really sad. But then it was cool because we got to hang out in a smaller group too. So while I missed them, it was super fun. Um, so yeah, no, I love it. And I'm so excited. I even walking away said, Darren, like he's the producer, I was like, now your job is we get picked up. Like this is what you have to do. So the story is they started it pre 2020, and it was getting a lot of traction moving forward. And then it was 2020. So everything stopped. And now, so there's meetings with like the networks, like they're interested at like early, midwinter. So we're going to keep promoting it. We're going to keep like pushing it, keep, being excited about it, because that would be awesome. So it so aligns with my like philosophy I've always felt with historic sites. And I know, for you too, the
Yeah.
history is so critical.
Yes.
So it's history alive. So the history is so critical. These sites, so some of them, so we filmed at the Fowler Theater in Fowler, Indiana. So it's not dirty and dusty and peely, which I love. And when things are not like that, I kind of walk in, I'm like, meh, like, because honestly, whether it's haunted or not, I like the peely, moldy,
Yeah.
mm,
Smell.
that smell, you're like,
If I don't get asbestos in my mouth, I'm
I
not
don't want
accepting.
it, it's lame. So the Fowler Theater is this cute little theater. It is gorgeous, just impeccable. Like somebody sat there and just painted with a paintbrush. It's amazing. I fell in love by the end of the night with it, but I was like, it's too nice, but no, but it's also these amazing volunteers in this little cute tiny town. Um, did this and they keep it alive and they show these real movies now. I say real, like they're fake, but like current movies. So like the Deadpool movie was the current movie. They'll show it. They have real popcorn. They have all this cool stuff. Like they're preserving this history for this town. And they also run paranormal tours out of it because that's part of what sustains it too. Because it's not just going to be a couple people showing up to a movie on a Saturday night. You need more than that. And you need these volunteers, so it's showcasing these sites, even the ones that I wouldn't pick myself, because of course we went to the Benton County Jail. That's when I was just in my element. Um, but it's showcasing these sites. It's talking about their history. It's talking how they fit in with the history of the area and how they stay alive. So the paranormal plays into that because it does, of course, and not everywhere is haunted every time, believe it or not. So
Yeah.
it's shocking. Even when it's haunted, maybe the ghosts don't like me today or don't like my friends today, and that's okay. But maybe along the way, we learn a little bit about the ghost hunting and learn about some piece of equipment or something, learn about the history and the process, and sometimes things don't happen. So, and that's very much okay. And that's like, so that's even part of like the interviews. Sometimes it doesn't happen, but also sometimes it does happen and it's really cool. So we go to the Fowler Theater, we go to the Benton County Jail, like just down the road. This weekend we were at Crown Point, which I had been to during the day, never at night. So I was really excited to be there at night. So that was cool and had some really cool experiences. And it's such a cool team and it's funny, like talking about this, like anger and choosing violence. It's a whole group of people that I think we've all had our traumatic experiences. I was really anxious going in. I think that's why I was so like, I don't care if this doesn't get picked up and was getting like angry at first, very at first. Now I'm very into it. Because I had such a history of trauma, like that I was like, don't get connected to anything, don't get attached. They're just gonna be mean to you. They're just gonna they're gonna do something and you're gonna be sad. But no, they're all amazing, absolutely amazing. And it's a whole bunch of people that have whole lives outside of this and just love this community and love doing
But
this. And I think that's so valuable and important.
there's one person that's
I was gonna
involved
say,
in
who
this.
is it?
Pete.
I love him. Yeah. We've
I
crossed
got to see him the
paths.
first
Like,
time.
Let's talk about this guy real quick.
okay, we can.
This gentleman is what's, again, just like Rob and Terry, is what's right about the
Hmm.
paranormal. If you don't know who Pete is, Pete, it's Chris, right?
Ghrist.
Grist.
Chris, Grist, whatever.
I've just
Pete.
had to type it a lot to tag him a lot lately, so I'm very good at spelling it.
So this guy's a police officer.
Hmm.
Okay. He is one of the police officers, I think, in a local high school.
Hmm.
Now, what he does for the youth in
Hmm.
the
Yes.
paranormal is unmatched.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And his network is growing. They're getting more people around the
Hmm.
country. Guys, you need to look into this. So he puts he gets kids to come together, and they have to earn it to go out on investigations. All likes of people, from jocks to nerds to this to that. And they come together for this one collective thing in high school, which is so hard to get people to come together.
Hmm.
And takes them out on ghost hunting, and then he talks about how these kids that would never ever talk to each other are now sitting with each other at lunch talking about the time they had on this ghost hunt on a Saturday night. The impact this guy is having
Hmm.
on the youth and changing people's lives. Oh my God. I don't know why this dude doesn't get more credit.
No,
Yeah.
you know what? Like, I don't, maybe this isn't why. I'm like, you know why? No, I've been in the same space with him a lot. I've said hi a lot. I always knew also, just like I knew Amelia would be part of it, I always knew he would be too, like we knew this. But he's so like that's why I even mentioned I missed Amelia and Lee this last weekend, but I loved it too because it was a smaller group because Pete like he needs it to be like maybe just get to know you. Like that's I'm very like I'm gonna just be silent and observe all of you until I kind of know you a little better and like know what's going on. He's does that so much more than I ever did, so once it was a smaller group, now he's talking, now he's interacting more. Like I think he's pretty content to observe everybody else being goofy and
Well, think
talking,
about what he did.
he'll kind of chuckle in the background.
I mean, think about what he does. I mean, he observes.
Yeah.
He's a police officer, so
Yeah, so as a police officer, observing, and then with all these ridiculous kids all the time. So like when the rest of the group, even though we're all adults, we're all like nutty and being like kids, he's okay to just kind of be like, okay, and watch us. Like that's fine. And that's okay. So when it was like a smaller group, I'm blown away like how educational he is with everything. And he's never like, how do you not know what this is? And why don't you own it? And why don't you, he's just like, I'm going to calmly explain it. Like, he'll even like before an interview, like filming an interview, if I can't tell you exactly what something does, but like, that's what I'm supposed to do because that's what I'm supposed to do, he has no problem explaining it again so that I can say it. He's not like anybody, I shouldn't say anybody and everybody, but generally in the past, very few people are willing to be like generous like that. Most people will be like, how about I be the one that gets interviewed? Why am I telling her what to say? Like, but yeah, like he's just very generous. Well, she doesn't have the words. She knows what it is, but she doesn't have the words. And like that was one of the moments. Like I had to talk about an novelist, doing something, and so for the interview, what's an novelist? And I was like, the thing with the words. Like I don't know, but like
he
he can
holds them.
explain
It's
it.
this. It's this right here.
She
It's
does her
the
Vanna
thing.
White.
Yeah, like it's the thing. This is the obelisk 3. So that's what I would say because I'm not used to having to use the words to explain it. But that is what he does. And but he's just like, okay, we pause. He explains it, and then I can, then now I have the words. And that was just like so generous and cool. And yeah, I don't know why everybody isn't just like obsessed with him. But when I've crossed paths with him other places, he's always so like kind and so polite and just hi. And you're like, oh, okay, hi, and you're distracted by other stuff and stuff is going on. And then at the end of the day, you're like, oh, okay, bye. And you end up not really talking to him. And I could see how that happens. But also now that I've like spent that time with him more one-on-one, I'm like, I really like wasted a lot of investigations, over the years here, but like you don't know. So, yeah, I don't know why everybody isn't following him and obsessed with him. So yeah, no, he's gonna be like he's awesome on the show. So it has to get picked up, and I'm just like dying, like walking out of the jail, 12:30 in the morning or whatever on Saturday night or Sunday morning, however you call it. I just like said to Darren, I was like, okay, so now you have to have to get this picked up because I think it's done a little biased, but I think it's just done so well and such a focus, like kind of reading like the show notes, the plans to integrate the history and everything and how much research they do is amazing to me and how important it is. It was so cute. I will say, so I work at a jail, so I have an existing jail with living people. It was so cute that one of them was saying to me, like knowing the history, well, such bad people were here, that committed such crimes. And I was like, okay. And they're like, well, no, but they were really, and I was like, so it's a jail. It's a county jail. Yeah, and I was like, okay. and like they weren't really like getting why I wasn't like excited, right? But then the next day, Sunday, I had to run into work for something and I had to go to the secure side and they were, inmates, our patients were in the clinic and I just like charge in and I go, oh, like Rocky. And then I'm thinking, I usually try not to know what people did because I don't need to know. It's not relevant, but like, knowing some things. And I go, this is why. And I laughed like to myself. I probably chuckled a little bit because I was like, that's why I'm like, okay. Because and that's why I like love the jails. I can say I don't ever like really even attribute malice when they're like doing something. I'm like, oh, they're just messing with us because they are. Like I'm always like, okay. So, but I am so impressed at how respectful they are for the show and how much they research the history and how much they value it. So it's not just running around in the dark, with infrared cameras saying, it's stopping and talking about it. It's educational about the history and investigation. So I don't know. I think it's just going to be such a cool show. And so I hope.
So what you're saying is you filmed a couple episodes and none of these episodes you never got possessed?
No, I did not. No.
You didn't need a line
Um,
to save you.
no, I did not. No, I even went, there's in the Crown Point Jail, if anybody knows, there's a preacher, like the priest, they'll say, that does haunt it. And some people have very negative experiences. Some people say, like when they say prayers. So he committed some crimes on the outside, some touchy-feely crimes, some assaultish crimes, and ended up in the county jail. And while there, he decided to be very self-righteous and was going to take down the correctional officers and show how corrupt they were. And he was good. He's the preacher. And they're the bad ones. So that was like his crusade. As I understand it, somebody will know the history better and could correct me. I'm not offended. But people have had experiences like if they went and prayed or read something in Latin, they would be choked by him. He would get really angry. He would. So I was like, oh, I took Latin in high school. I could say some things. I could say some prayers in Latin, me, and in a jail, often like as a female, you would be a good piece of bait, right? So I was like, I'll totally go up there. And let me tell you how brave you are when you have a couple of people holding cameras pointing at you and somebody on lights in the back. Like they're at one point, they're like, oh, you're so brave that you went and did that. And I was like, yes. And then later I went down a hallway kind of in the dark by myself and I was like all scared. And I was like, oh, I'm brave because I have people. They're calling it alone. They're like, you're all alone up there. You're doing it. And you're like, thank you. Yes, I really am. And then later I was like, I was never alone. What is wrong with me? Like, why would I think that? As I'm talking to them, I'm like, I'm so alone, very alone, very tough. So then I really had to laugh when I was like going down another spooky haunted hallway in the dark. I was like, and I didn't bring a flashlight. And I was like, what if she jumps out of her cell at me and I'm by myself? And I'm like, I kind of like did the scuttling down. I was like, I'm so ridiculous, like because I really like thought I was alone. But anyway, so I was alone interacting with the preacher and nothing happened. I did like at one point, I definitely like, I think saw him in the cell. Like, I think, but nobody choked me or anything. But like also, but I had the obelisk. That's why we were talking about the obelisk. Um, So yeah, but no, nothing. I was never possessed. I never got scratched. And it's okay to admit that. I also think he's like, she's boring and isn't going to be that excited. I would have been excited, but I was like, please, not like scared because I wasn't alone. So I was very brave. So anyway, I freely admit it.
Well, let's hope it gets picked up. Sounds like a good premise behind the show.
Yes. I'm
They
very
got
brave when I'm not alone. That's the premise of the
you up
show.
there alone in the in
That's
this,
it.
this room with this really funky lighting and awesome audio and everything. I don't know how you pulled it off.
I know, all by myself.
And you had the
All
obvious.
by myself with the obelisk, the thing. So yeah, no, that's very interesting show as I've made it sound. And thank goodness for Pete and everybody else, of course. But no, since you guys know Pete, he was no, I was struck like at the whole group, how generous and wonderful everybody is and how like collaborative. And I think again, that goes back to my like mantra of the day. Just like go enjoy your day job. I think everybody does. And we even as a group, we're talking about like, okay, if we get picked up, if we get to do this again, we'll have enough notice and we can schedule our PTO and all that stuff. And I was like, this is great. Like, I appreciate everybody thinking along those lines. Nobody was like, can't wait to quit my job. Everyone was like, All right, I will schedule my
I'll be
PTO.
famous.
I will be there. Yeah, like nobody was like, this is it, and screw all of you. Like, I'm gonna kick you all off once I get the show. No, everyone's like, I'm so excited to hang out with you, and I'll schedule my PTO around it. It's like, that's beautiful. And I loved that because, like, I think that's so healthy. Let's do this
Okay.
awesome thing in awesome places with awesome people and preserve the history and bring, all of that into it and just be like good people.
Just be good, be kind, be
Just be
nice.
good people. That's it.
All
And
right.
that's my premise. That's my summary of this whole episode. Everybody can listen to me talking crap about people or remember, just be good people.
Be nice or eat a bag of dicks. Either way.
And follow, yeah, maybe I want to put a little space between that last statement and my next statement, but I'm going to go with it. And follow history alive and
Yes.
and
Yes.
into
Go
the
follow it, you
obscure
guys.
and Paraflix and me, the essentials.
All right, so we're gonna wrap this up with three famous questions. Are you
Oh
ready?
no. See, I'm the worst at these.
All right, so tell us and all our listeners across the globe, what is an interesting or weird fact about yourself that most people wouldn't know?
Oh no. I think everybody knows everything. I'm pretty public about it. Well, I think there was a story today we were talking about every time somebody new starts at where I work, they look them up on Facebook, and I just go, I gave you guys so much to work with, didn't I? And then they all laughed because they knew it. Um, Honestly, I don't know. You'll have to find out one day and then tell everybody what it is because I'm pretty transparent. I like to think. Like, what does everybody not know? What does everybody not know?
Accept that?
Well, you got like a stupid human trick? Because that's what I told when I was on. I told my stupid human trick that nobody knew about until I told it on the show. Because I couldn't think of anything. Because I was like, everybody sees what I do.
Yeah, no, I was gonna say like you too. Like you're pretty.
Transparent, yeah.
It's not even like that interesting. I have my own bowling ball that I got. And bowling shoes that are older than my kids, who are pretty old. An ex-boyfriend in college got them for me, and it was probably the most thoughtful gifts that anyone has ever got. I shouldn't say that, but like it was so thoughtful, and I was mad at him.
Typical.
I know. No, I know. It's like to this day, actually. And then he got me the Lord of the Rings trilogy and The Hobbit, and I was like mad about that because it wasn't famous yet, but it was like very meaningful to I'm
You
such a
just thought that
jerk.
was meaningful to him, and you were
It
like,
was, and he wanted to share it. And I was like, what? So I still use the bowling ball to this day, still use the shoes to this day.
Kudos to you, boyfriend. Good job.
Yeah, no, and yeah, and yeah, just very like, and it's funny. I should get a new ball or I should get the holes re-drilled because it's been over 20 years. And I'm like, yeah, but that feels weird. I don't know. And it's not even like a loyalty to him. It's just now it's been part of my life song. That's maybe my weird thing. It's not even that weird. But it's always like when people hear that I have my own bowling ball, they're like, really? I'm like, of course.
I have my own ball and shoes too.
Well, okay, if you're going to have the ball, you should have the shoes. The shoes are what
That
cost money
match.
and are
Yeah.
gross. So, like, of course you need the shoes and they're cheap. And then because I'm so cheap, I've had these shoes. The best money that has ever been spent is these shoes. They weren't that expensive and they're still around over 20 years later. The soles started to come off because they're so old. I literally bought shoe glue. You should see my collection of Jordans, like how much money I spend on shoes. And here I am shoe gluing these damn bowling shoes like a psycho. And I'm like, yeah, look at me go. There was no reason for that. I could have bought the shoes. Like,
Just
anyway.
let go of the guilt. Just let it go.
There
Just
was there's just because you never wear the bowling shoes, except I've worn them a lot. Like it feels weird to get new ones. Like I should. I
Like,
think the leather's getting like
oh,
worn down. I think it's really time. But instead I glued them. And that's where I'm gonna, like, save the world, gluing these shoes. I was This is as if I've ever glued other shoes in my life. Like
Here's
it's
your weird
these
fact.
shoes.
There it is, right there. You glued your
I
bowling shoes
glued
back.
my bowling shoes that are over 2 decades old, but that's what I'm gonna save.
I
Hmm.
love it.
All right, moving on. Second question. All us paranormal investigators, weekend warriors, researchers, whatever you want to call yourself, podcaster. When you go investigate, we like to brutally, I don't know, make things worse by going to Mexican restaurants before investigations.
Yes.
Yeah. Why? You should never do it. It's against the rules, but we do it every fucking time. It's almost to the point where you have to go to Mexican before you investigate. I'm
Hmm.
saying we need to put a 10 commandments together, and this has to be in the top five. Top five. Top five must go to Mexican. So after Mexican, you go to investigate. What's your go-to snack and drink?
I'm so boring. Water and like almonds and pecans because it has no carbs.
Boo.
I know. I
But you look
know.
amazing.
No, but we have to keep that blood sugar low and in a healthy range.
Well, I'm only 25, but I look 60. That's probably
Because you do
that.
not
So,
eat healthy snacks.
so
I'm
That's what
actually
did
gonna
it.
have to be his mom.
yeah, she's a cougar. All right. Last question. You got one night, one investigation. You can only use 3 items to investigate with. What are you taking?
Oh, so that's like not that hard because I don't like the things that much. So that's I will for sure have my cell phone because then you can get like video, you could record sound, you can take pictures, and you always just have it. And it's so, I mean, I do. I always have my phone and I'm always right there with it. So I think that's like a comfort level thing. If you give me a camera, even, I'm like, the what with the what now? Or even like a recorder. I have my recorder and I'm like, I'm going to be real good and not use my phone to like record for EVPs. I'm so bad at it. It's not my phone, right? So that's what's always attached to me. So my phone, 100%, and then like extra batteries. Um, I'm gonna say after my evening with the Ovilus, I'm a little obsessed with it now. I'm a little in love. That Ovilus 3 is not easy to get anymore per my Googling. So I guess Pete will have to be there with his. So let's say that. And then a third, does a flashlight count? Because the flashlight's required. And that way I'm brave enough to go down the scary hall.
That's what you
If I
pick.
have a flashlight, that's what I'm gonna pick.
Hey, we had somebody one time say my tablet and a pumpkin pie.
Oh,
So
I would not bring a pumpkin pie because where I like to go is dirty and gross. But also I would like my flashlight to have like a red light on it too. Like I want a good multifunctional flashlight.
she
The
draws a line.
Ovilus is really just my
Doesn't like
luxury item. That's like a luxury thing to have the Ovilus.
she doesn't like the flashy toys, but she's got to have the flashy flashlight.
Flashlight.
Got it.
Lights. Hmm.
Yes,
Well, in the
makes sense.
red so that you could adjust your light. And then sometimes you could take cool pictures with
Great.
that too, you know.
Now I got that song in my head. Flashing lights.
Well, Kara, we thank you so much for coming on here, being a good sport, and talk
Thank
about the
you.
hot topics of our wonderful, joyful paranormal community that we have, where we all love each other and take care of each
All
other.
the time. And we're so generous and
Yeah.
demure.
So,
Yes.
got
Very
any
demure.
last words?
Me?
Are they
Yeah, you.
last words? Because is this the last episode?
This
Maybe.
possibly could. So, here's the thing: the podcast is done. We're done with it. We have 2 guests that we did have already scheduled. We went to reschedule them. If they still want to be on the show, we will honor those 2 episodes. If not, then you are
The
it.
official
You are the
final.
mic drop.
I
But
kind of
I
hope
mean,
so.
I'm like ecstatic though that it's Kara, because Kara has like the things that you have done for me personally, like the friendship that you and I have been able to like
I know,
genuinely,
right?
that's not based on where are you getting me and what can you do for me, but like a genuine friendship, in the fact that it's
Yes.
you that is probably going to be like our official last guest, like trying, I mean, I'm not going to lie, like it's emotional for me that it's you know, because
Stop.
like I just adore you,
I
and
adore
like,
you.
oh, thank you. Like, but like you're genuine, and you, I feel, are such a wonderful example to other females in the paranormal of what we should be. You know, like
You.
how you can be nice to everybody, but you don't have to fall for the crap. You don't have to be everybody's best friend. You don't have to call
Mhm.
everybody sis. And you know, you hold yourself with integrity,
Thank
and
you.
you know, you're genuine with who you are and what you align yourself with, and the people you surround yourself with, I think speaks volumes too. You know, and
Thank
then
you.
what you fight for is just, for me, and the fact that you're doing History Alive, and like when I saw that Pete was on there with you, I was like, hold on, I gotta replay this. That's Pete. Okay, Pete. I just met Pete. Oh my God, it's Pete.
I got excited when I saw the post and saw both of you were on it, and I'm like, this is going to be a good show.
Yeah, like
I
Hey,
hope it gets to go somewhere. I hope.
you can ask anybody that knows me. I don't watch anything anymore. I don't watch. It's all like whatever, you know. So
we
this
watch
comes out.
football.
That's true.
That's it.
If you get picked up and this comes on, I will watch it.
Oh, for
Thank
sure.
you.
Yeah. I'm gonna be like, y'all, that's my girl. That's what I'm friends with. I know her. I met him too, but I know her.
And then all the people in my normal life are still going to be like, what? What are you doing this weekend?
You?
And
Yeah.
Are you wearing the American Eagle jeans?
so, but I'm really get some American Eagle jeans. This all started because they have mom jeans. Go get them.
This podcast is now sponsored by American Eagle
It
jeans.
should be like this is like all we talk about at work because we're all of a certain age, and try to be cool. And with American Eagle, I get to be.
Well,
I love it.
personally, you saw what we went through,
Oh
especially
my
Bree,
God. Yeah.
and I want to personally thank you for letting her know that it is okay to put pictures up in my house. I appreciate that.
Yes, it is
And to move
more
some
than
furniture
okay.
around too.
Sometimes we have to,
I'm,
and it's okay.
it's like guys, put the toilet paper, pick it up off the floor, put it on the toilet paper holder, put it on right. Like that stuff is okay. It's okay.
It is okay. It's okay for your significant other to be part of your life. It's okay.
It's okay.
It's okay.
And
And we,
integrated into your life as your significant other. It's okay.
well, we appreciate that. Thank you.
Yes. It it does make me stop taking pictures off the walls. So you know I wasn't at that point, but still no, but you I honestly and genuinely can't thank you enough, because you've done more for me than you know. So I know I suck at messaging, and I'm still figuring my new phone out, which is amazing. I love my new phone.
It's the best phone.
It's the best phone ever. But it's like I've had iPhone for the past 4 years, and so it's like
Oh
I'm
yeah, I
having
would not be
to know
able
what
to
Android is.
switch.
Yeah, well, and so it's like now I'm like, okay, I've had Samsung before. Now I got to remember what Samsung used to do. But the last Samsung I had was a Samsung 8, people, and this is the 24
I
Ultra.
had
So
one of those, but that was a long time ago. So yeah, I've never had an iPhone. So when people hand me iPhones, I understand because when they hand me an iPhone, I go, fix it.
yeah, I feel like
It's,
I don't
towards the
know.
end, I feel like
I'm very
I don't
stupid
know what
with
I'm
the
doing.
Apple things. And I don't want to get better at it. Like, this is not because I can't, like, whatever. I don't want it.
Yeah, I never wanted Apple, and then I was forced into Apple, and I was promised I will show you Apple, and that promise was nothing but a bunch of bullshit. But it's like being able to be free of that, it's like such a breath of fresh air. I got to figure out the volume on this now. And like you messaged me last night, and like I was like looking at my phone, I'm like, oh, oh shit, she messaged me like an hour.
It's fine. I'm busy too. So like honestly, if somebody takes forever to get back to me, I'm like, oh, it's like it was instant because I don't even know. I'm the worst. It's funny to me. So yeah, like we're gonna just keep going with the show right now, even though we're trying to wrap it up. No, it's funny to me when people like make posts like, I'm so sorry I'm not up on Messenger or this and that. And I'm like, please never expect that of me. Like if I see the notification and I can answer it, I will. Otherwise, like I might find something a month later. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Just
Oh,
putting
I'm
it out
going
there.
back through now, and I'm like, I didn't get a notification for this or this. iPhone sucks. I missed all of this.
I might have dismissed it too. So that's very possible and said, I'll do that later. But anyway,
Squirrels.
but anyway,
I'm blaming on squirrels at this point. Squirrels.
we
Genuinely,
could
from the
talk
bottom of my
forever.
heart, um, everybody across the globe listening to this podcast, we appreciate you tuning in the last 130 some odd episodes. It was a great run, and yeah, thank you. And who knows? We'll see what the future holds. Kara, thank you so much,
Thank
and
you.
keep kicking ass. And we will see you somewhere around this country at
I
some
think you
point.
will. In maybe like a month or and a half or so, I hear.
Yeah,
Yeah.
possibly. All right.
If not, yeah, it's gonna be quick, soon, possible.
Like that, we see you.
Maybe until next time. See you guys.
Bye.
How do you hit record now? Stop recording.
Yep, there's the stop record.
YouTube, it's been a blast. We'll see you later
And the cats are killing each other in the back.
if I can.
Uh, you will be no. Nick, you gotta click there.
I'll just keep
It's Zoom
smiling.
updated in
Zoom
real life.
updated. I have no